Why are people doing 6 A level? What's going on? There is no extra benefit in doing more A levels. If you're academically inclined, there's better ways to show that through doing, let's say if you're good at maths, you can do Olympiads, you can do all these different maths competitions. Doing extra A levels is not a flex. The problem with the UK education system right now is that it focuses so much on knowledge and not enough on application. I recently did a video on TikTok where I was talking about how doing so many A levels is quite pointless. There's a person who went viral recently, I think maybe last year, and she did like 28 A levels, and like everyone was like, oh my gosh, that's so many A levels. I'm just kind of realizing how insane it is that that sort of thing is what gets platformized in our education system. Doing 28 A levels isn't necessarily a flex. It doesn't necessarily mean you've done anything that's like outstanding. And the reason I say this is not to throw shade at the person, because I think they're very driven to have achieved this. I think that the drive could have been applied to more beneficial things. The problem with doing that many A levels is that, one, you don't have enough time to actually dedicate to each subject properly. And two, when it comes to learning about a subject, it's not just about what they teach you in the academic setting, it's about applying that to the real world. So doing 28 A levels does not give you enough time to fully know these subjects in a way that would allow you to engage with them on a decent basis. I find it problematic that these are the kind of things that we platform in our education system, doing loads of GCSEs, loads of A levels. Like, these are the things that go viral sometimes. And my thing about this is that when it comes to GCSE and A levels, I think at GCSE you don't need to do that many GCSEs. I went to a grammar school and we had to do 11 GCSEs. And looking back, I wish I could have been up. I could have asked to do like 8 or 9, because there's no need to do 11. I found that doing the 11 was more than I could handle, and there was easily 2 that I didn't really need to do. So I kind of wish I did less and could focus on less subjects. At A level, I made the smart decision and did 3 A levels. I did music, chemistry, and computer science. And I knew I liked all of these subjects really, really well, and I cared about these subjects. So I did the 3. I didn't think about doing 4, because 4 to me seemed scary. There was the idea of maybe doing like maths and further maths, but I quickly let go of the idea because that was not going to happen. So I just did the music, chemistry, and computer science. And to me at A level, unless you're doing maths and further maths, there's no reason to do more than 3 A levels. I think just do the 3 and call it a day. Because what I realised is the things that I did outside of my A level and GCSEs mattered a lot more than simply doing the A level and the GCSEs. I think so many people focus on getting the straight 9s, the all A stars at GCSE and A levels, that they don't realise that these things don't matter. They're not novel anymore. Like, anyone can do that. What is useful is actually applying what you're learning in these subjects into new domains. And because I wanted to study computer science, a lot of the things that I did was enter competitions. I entered Technovation, an app dev competition, where I got to go to San Fran and like see all these different people building apps and things. I did hackathons. I taught an app development club in my school. I did a lot of things where I was sharing my computer science skills outside of doing the subject. And I think that's what helped me get into Nottingham for computer science. And now that I'm on a PhD, these are the skills that have helped me do that. I've always been quite passionate about applying my skills outside of just doing the A level or the GCSE, because I think that's the important thing to do. I just think nowadays that schools don't really appreciate that sort of thing. I think schools focus so much on simply the grade and the letter that you get, and not enough on applying this education outside of school. Because it's when you see it outside the school that you realise, oh my gosh, this subject that I didn't like is actually very, very useful outside of school. Like, I didn't like English for ages, but now I write daily, and it's insane. I couldn't imagine telling Year 11 Demi that I know you hate GCSE English literature, but one day you're going to be out here writing online. It's just insane to me that something that I looked down on when I was younger is now the thing that I love doing. And there's a lot of subjects like that. I didn't really appreciate humanities a lot when I was younger. I did kind of like history, but I didn't take it at GCSE, which was a big mistake, because I took geography instead and that was terrible. I didn't appreciate humanities when I was younger, and now I appreciate them a lot more. I was more of a STEM person, and I still like STEM. I still really love maths, despite not studying it after GCSE. Humanities are so cool. I really enjoy humanities now, especially now that I'm older and I can see how they influence the world and the way we live our lives. I just wish that there was more examples of these subjects and how they can be useful outside of just writing essays, doing coursework, doing past paper, doing exam. I think these subjects are more than just getting the grade from them. And I think sometimes when we fixate on just getting an A star in these subjects at A level, we realize that these subjects are more than what the A level specification can cover. A level computer science is a really cool A level, but there's so much more to computer science than just knowing all these different theories and data structures. It's how you can apply that to different fields that was really exciting to me. It was when I was building these different apps and I could be like, oh my gosh, this app that I've built, someone's used it and they really liked it. It was when I was pitching these apps to different people and they were like, that is a really cool idea. It's not necessarily about the theory, it's about how it's applied to other places. And I just wish that was something that was more common and more shared rather than just getting straight 9s and getting 4 A stars, because I just don't think that matters anymore. Once you get to degree level, nobody cares. Like, I can't remember what I got at A level. I think I got what? AAB, ABB? I don't know, because to be fair, I was in the year that I didn't sit the A levels. So my A level grades are just like, whatever. I did my GCSEs, so I was in the first cohort that had the 9 to 1. But nobody asks what I get in that. Nobody cares. Even now that I'm on a PhD, nobody cares what grade I got in my Masters in Computer Science. I just simply have a Masters in Computer Science. So the way we fixate on grades at the end of the day is simply just getting to the next step. Like, I think my offer for Norton back in the day was something like ABB. And as long as I met that, it didn't matter whether I got 3 A stars or, exactly ABB. So I think when we fixate so much on these grades, we miss the point that actually applying your education to hobbies, to different life experiences is so much more valuable. It's so much more helpful than just doing more past papers and doing more like tuition for these subjects. Like, if you're good enough at the subject, you don't need to do more tutoring for it. I think once again we focus too much on the subjects in the qualification sense and not enough in the experience and applying it sense. And I just hope that for anyone watching this video, if you're doing GCSEs, if you're doing A levels, please try and apply your knowledge outside of them. Please try and look for hobbies, look for different ways you can apply it. For me, I love computer science and I loved maths. I used to love Project Euler. I don't know if it's still running, but it used to have problems that were very mathematical based where you could use code to solve them. And I loved that so much. I used to love Advent of Code. That was something that I did more at university. But like, this guy basically created an Advent of Code similar to like an Advent calendar where every day in December, you would get a different coding problem and it would increase in difficulty. And I love doing that. I'm actually gonna do that this year because it's so much fun. There's so many things out there that you can do to apply your skills outside of just simply like doing the subject. And I wish people told me this when I was younger, that actually it's so much better for you to share what you're learning, apply it outside of the subjects like that you're learning in school, and just think about it in a broader sense. Like, seeing the applications of mathematics is so insane. You wouldn't think mathematics could be used in so many fields, right? Same with English. Like, I didn't rate English much when I was doing a GCSE, but now that I'm older, there's so many documentations that I'm reading, all these papers that I'm reading as an academic. English is literally like so important. Media literacy is so important, especially now with the whole AI thing and people not really knowing what is AI and what's not, and whether they should actually just take what AI says or wait, let me actually cross-check. Like, people aren't cross-checking information anymore. Social media made that insane and AI has now made that even worse. So I just think that these things are so important to learn when you're young, because these are skills that like they will stand the test of time outside of simply just saying you got an A star at this A level subject. Nobody cares. Like, okay, you've gone into a good uni. Now you have to do the degree. And even after the degree, nobody cares about the degree. Everyone cares about the stuff you do outside of academia. So why don't we focus on that? Why isn't that the thing we tell people to do? That's what doesn't make sense to me. Instead of telling people to engage in their hobbies, to do cool things, to do extracurricular, we tell them to get all 9s, to get A stars, to apply to Oxford. We don't allow them to actually show their creativity for their subjects outside of what the exam specification says. And I don't think that's fair, because there's so much more to these subjects than what's in the past paper. There's so much I loved about maths that wasn't necessarily going to be in the A-level maths. I mean, my favourite topic of A-level maths, that I didn't even take it, but decision maths, for example, I love that so much because that relates a lot to computer science. But not every school offers that, I just kind of wish that like there was more that was done to support people who wanted to apply their knowledge outside of getting grades and things. So I just don't think grades matter. And I don't want to sound like all those people, because results day just happened for A-levels right now. And I don't want to sound like those people who's just like, oh, A-levels don't matter, But like, I promise you, it's simply a stepping stone. Nobody's going to ask what A-level grade you get when you have your degree. And nobody's going to ask what degree you get when you have work experience. These are all stepping stones. You cannot have your life be so defined by a bunch of letters. You need to have things outside of your life, because life will go on. And these things will not matter when you're older. There's people who flopped the A-levels that are doing PhDs right now. There's people who did amazing in their GCSEs and we don't know where they are right now, you know? So doing well in these things doesn't guarantee anything, and doing bad in them doesn't guarantee anything. Don't let these things define you. Try and find the thing that you love outside of these things and let that carry you on. I don't have much else to add to this video, but I just thought that it was really important for me to share how important it is to just have things to do outside of your GCSE and A-levels, and especially your degree too, because your life cannot be determined by the grades you get.